Hello and welcome to Time Troopers. Today we're going to be looking at mission 9.2, No Second Chances. So as always, you should read the mission infill so you're aware of the story, and then we'll go ahead and set up. We're going to be needing the orange dice, and we're going to be needing a deck N1 to N9, W1 to W3, and S2 to S6. So a lot of cards there. Let's go ahead, take the dice, the counter, tokens, and then the cards that we're going to need. So we're going to need these cards here. I pre-sorted those for speed. It's quite a big deck of cards, so make sure you double check you've got everything. Of course, we're going to need our trooper deck as always. We have that ready to hand, and we'll set aside the box whilst we set up. So we'll go ahead and look at the cards that are laid out. You'll see here there's plenty of cards in play, including tucked cards. Before we go on to that, let's just have a read through the mission brief and the special rules so we're aware of what's going on. So, mission brief. Defend the HQ and the gate. Defeat the Scorpions. Success. Defeat the Scorpions, 12 cards, and have them removed from the mission. Fail. 4 troopers are defeated. So we've got to defeat 12 Scorpions, which will be in this deck. Special rules. Carriers. Transport an army into play. When the carrier enters play, go through the discard pile first, then the deck, the required number of Scorpions, and tuck them under the carrier. The carrier remains in play for 1 turn. It will attack as a carrier, and then at the end of the turn be discarded, and the Scorpions underneath will be entered into play. Cards enter play top to bottom. Troopers can attack carriers, and if they are defeated, so are all the Scorpions tucked underneath. So we'll just have a look at that in a little bit more detail. So in this event, you'll see there are support cards. Support cards are not carriers. Transport. So transport cards will say here carrier and then a number. So you can see here there's a tank. So transport tank carries 3 and transport rammer carries 2. And it will say tuck 3 enemy cards under this card. This card will enter play for 1 round, then discard. Enemy cards tucked will then be in play. So how does that work? Well, let's take that N2, and you will take 2 cards, so 2 enemy cards. Well, in fact, that's 3 for a tank. So if you ever need to know, it will say how many here, so carrier 3. So you'll tuck 3 cards underneath it, and then the carrier will enter play. Now, you can attack the tank, but of course it has a defense of 5 and health of 5, so you would have to do something pretty spectacular to blow up that tank, which makes sense. So that will enter play for 1 turn. When it's the tank's turn, it will attack as normal, so it has an attack value of 3. Then after its turn, a tank will get discarded, and the troopers, or the enemies should I say, underneath, will then enter play. So they've been dropped off. And that's how they enter play, top to bottom, left to right. If at any point you do defeat a Scorpion in this level, then he will, instead of being placed in the discard pile, he will be removed from the game. You're trying to remove all 12 Scorpions from the game. If at any point a carrier enters play and there aren't enough Scorpions to tuck underneath, you can only tuck the maximum amount you can. So if this says carrier 3, but there's only 2 Scorpions left in play, of course you can only tuck 2 underneath. The same rules would apply. So going back to the setup here, it says an N2, draw 3 characters and tuck the cards. So N2 is this tank we were looking at earlier. So we will shuffle up this deck, and we will just draw 3 enemies and tuck them under there. There's one, there's one, and there's one. So we'll shuffle these, and that's our local deck ready to play. And there we go with the carrier in play. Next, you'll see we need to choose one of our troopers to put into play and then draw one of our troopers to put into play. Before we go ahead, let's just finish reading the special rules. So, defeat 12 Scorpions. When a Scorpion enemy is defeated, it's set aside and out of the mission, which we touched on earlier. So, remember, you've got to defeat all 12 Scorpions. So, as they're coming out, you defeat them and remove them from the game. Timeline phase. It costs 3 timeline tokens to re-roll the timeline event in this mission, and that's because it's live, you're taking place in the future. So to change things, it has a greater cost. So remember that. So now we know what we're up against. We're going to choose our trooper. So let's choose someone who's got good defense and is going to be able to withstand this attack a little bit. So let's choose Bull as our character, and then we're going to draw one. So again, if you've not aware of draw, you should have seen this in earlier videos, but we're just going to flip over until a character comes into play, and it's going to be Apollo. And we look at starting with 2 time tokens. Not a lot, so we're going to have to hope that we can find some, but of course we've got 2 characters in play. And we're going to draw 5 cards and discard 1 for our starting hand. So let's shake this up. Draw 5. Some of them mixed in already. It's not to worry. Okay, so we've got some good cards to start. We need to discard 1. We're definitely going to discard Time Lapse. We have 2 events, and we have 2 time tokens. So that would be our starting hands. Of course, the events say action immediately, so we'd have to do those first. So we're going to play this first round so I can show you an example of what would happen with the tank. So of course, it would be our turn first. We would action immediately. Ripples in space-time are disrupting the gate. Assign 1 damage to a trooper in play. Okay, not a great start, but I'm sure we can turn this around. So we're going to put 1 damage on Bull. Another action immediately. You may pay 5 time tokens to remove any card from any discard pile for the rest of the mission. That could be quite useful for obviously getting rid of scorpions from the mission. We don't have 5 time tokens, so we're going to discard that now. And now we're going to add 3 time tokens. So now we do have 5, but of course we have to action immediately first. So we're up to 5 time tokens. We're going to move Bull into the combat zone, and we're going to move Apollo into the combat zone. That will be their turn done. It will now be the tank's turn. So the tank will obviously attack Bull. So it's 3 attack. -2 is 1 attack. No damage to Bull. So that's great. The tank's missed him. And now we will enter the timeline phase. A rammer, a scorpion, and another scorpion. So it's quite a strange this one because you want the scorpions to come into play, obviously, because you can't defeat them if they don't. 3, so that scorpion will come into play. We will discard these. And something to be aware of is remember to read the text. So this is Razor. This scorpion does not roll for attack. Instead, assign 1 damage to any trooper in play. So when it's that trooper's turn, we're going to be having to assign damage to these. So we need to get rid of this guy fairly quickly. Okay, so that's the end of the round. So what we'll do now is the tank will get discarded. And these guys will come out. And as I said, top to bottom, left to right, whatever's in its way goes to the right hand side. We'll stand everyone up. And what that's done is it's changed the combat, it's changed the engagement, because Apollo was going to be fighting Razor. Now, of course, it's 4 against 2. So when it's our turn, we must get some more troopers out. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit lopsided. So we'll be back to our turn. I'm going to draw our 4 cards. And let's see what we've got. Okay, so we've got 3 time tokens, which is good news. Takes us back up to 8. Okay, so we've got lots of time. We've got 3 characters. We can bring them into play. We can do actions here. Apollo is in play. He gains +2 when he's attacking scorpion cards, so he's a good guy to have in this mission. So yeah, this should be pretty cool from here on out. So why don't you try this and do the same. Good luck!